From the teen mom days, you thought you knew the story. Years of headlines, pain, and all the public glory. Now the cameras change, we're taking back the mic. It's April and Nick, time to set it right. No scripts, no filters, no room full of producers, just honest conversations, we're turning on the truth. Welcome to the real, the raw, the truth untold. Every memory, every chapter, let it all unfold. April was misunderstood just before she spoke. Now you hear every side beyond the sound bites and the smoke. So come along, hear the laughs, hear the tears we live. It's April and Nick, no holding back tonight. The real raw truth starts now. Welcome to the ride.
Oh, I forgot I'm muted. What's up, Mom?
What's up, son? Yeah, I couldn't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
All right, great. That's all that matters. What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the YouTubes? Welcome to the show. We are not streaming on TikTok right now because I wanted to see if we could, you know, do it without TikTok. So we're gonna see if this works. Today we're doing a true crime case of Aileen Wuornos. At least it's how, I think you say her last name. I think that's how you do it.
Close enough.
Okay. What up, Colby? What up, Danielle? What up, Fuzz? How y'all doing today? Welcome to the stream. All right, so Mom really wanted to do this case. She's a huge fan of the movie Monsters, right? That's the name of it. And that movie is based off of Aileen. So we'll do the whole introduction of like the truth and the lore of who she was and how the murders happened and all that good stuff. So let's do this. Danielle asks how you're doing, Mom. How you doing?
I'm good, trying not to suffocate from all the smoke.
Yeah, it's bad. It's really bad. It's really
Sucks.
bad.
You wait all winter for summer, and then we get this and can't even go outside.
Yeah, you can't go outside at all. It's like bad. It's so much smoke. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I can't go outside. It hurts my throat.
It hurts my throat too. I went out to the other night to throw some garbage away, and good lord, my chest was hurting, my throat was hurting, my body was hurting.
Better
Everything
today,
was
but
hurting.
still.
It is a little bit better today. I feel bad for everybody who has to work out in it, and they don't have a say.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
I
I'd quit.
I would too. I would too. Really, I really would. Let me post this on Instagram really quick. All right, now we should be all good. All right, so this is the story of Aileen Wuornos. Some people call her America's first female serial killer. Others believe she was a victim of unimaginable abuse who eventually became a killer herself. And that's exactly what we're going to explore here tonight. This isn't about glorifying violence. This isn't about celebrating criminals. It's about separating fact from fiction, truth from lore, and understanding how this case became one of the most controversial criminal cases ever. I have a little script prepared, guys. I'm reading off a little script so I don't get my facts not right. Okay, so before we begin, I want to make one thing clear. Throughout tonight's stream, I will clearly distinguish between verified facts, claims made by Aileen, and theories or speculation. There are many myths surrounding this case, and not all of them are supported by evidence. The victims deserve to be remembered, and we'll examine the life that led Aileen to become one of the most notorious murderers in American history.
Yes, we're not glorifying murdering people. I just like the story behind the case, why she started. I thought it was interesting.
It is very interesting. I did a lot of research for this case before we did this, so I I got some stuff. So, who was Aileen? Aileen Carol Wuornos was born on February 29th, 1956 in Rochester, Michigan. Right from the beginning, her life was...
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that? Well, see, there's a little fact. Right from the beginning, her life was unstable. Her father, Leo Dale Pittman, was convicted of child SA before she was born and later died by unaliving while serving a prison sentence. Aileen never met him. Her mother left Aileen and her older brother with their grandparents while they were still very young, and her mother largely disappeared from their lives. So by elementary school, Aileen wasn't being raised by her parents at all. So, let me guys ask you something. How much do you think childhood shapes the person someone becomes? What do you think, Mom?
I think it has a lot to do with it, yeah. They say you grow up to what you lived in, but I think that if you can realize if it was a bad situation and you realize that you can try to better yourself from it, but I can see how being sexually abused and made to do things you didn't want to do could change you all overall.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. But it's also kind of like, I'm kind of 50-50 on it because Jeffrey Dahmer is one of those cases that's like he had a great childhood, at least from what we kind of know, and he still went on to be like, you know, super crazy. So, I mean, I'm 50-50 on it.
Yeah, I agree, I guess. Some people are just born that way. That's my opinion.
I agree. Mom,
Opinions over here.
Before we start with this, I want to tell y'all something that really happened because it was crazy. Yesterday, while I was asleep, my apartment complex broke into my house. And I just think that's crazy. They're lucky I didn't have like a gun or something, bro. Because what if I just woke up and saw 5 grown men in my house?
They're lucky you weren't naked sleeping on your couch in the living room. I mean,
Sure.
Come on. I think that's crazy in itself that just because you didn't answer your phone call doesn't mean that they could just come into your house.
Yeah, I got 2 missed phone calls, and they left voicemails, and the last voicemail was like, we just want to know if it's okay to come in.
Yeah, if it's okay. I didn't answer, so that'd be a no.
Exactly, I was asleep. Alright, let's go back to the show. So, Aileen had a troubled childhood. As Aileen grew older, people around her described a chaotic home life. She later alleged that she experienced physical and sexual abuse during her childhood. Some of these claims have been supported by people who knew her, while others remain disputed. What's clear is that her childhood was marked by instability, neglect, and trauma. By her early teens, she had dropped out of school. She became pregnant around age 14 and gave birth to a son who was placed for adoption. Not long afterwards, she was reportedly forced out of her grandparents' home and began living on her own. See, that's one thing I didn't know, actually, before I did this, was that she had a kid. Did you know that, Mom?
Yeah, I knew that.
I didn't know that. The turn to survival. Imagine being a teenager with no stable home, no reliable support system, and almost no money. According to multiple accounts, Aileen survived by hitchhiking, petty theft, and exchanging sex for money. Those experiences became a defining part of her life. Years later, she would say that many of the men she encountered were violent or abusive. Whether every claim was true is impossible to verify, but it's well documented that prostitution in that area exposed women to significant damage. Good God. Or danger, not damage. Jesus Christ, I can't read. Fuzz, stop with the L's. Stop with the goddamn L's. We're not over there. We're over here. Stop with the L's, you motherfucker. Quit it. Quit it. God. Fuzz, you shithead.
Who are you talking to?
Fuzz, he's a viewer.
Oh, I can't see who's commenting and stuff.
Fuzz is a good guy. He's a good guy.
I thought you were over there losing your mind.
No, I'm not schizophrenic. At least I don't think I am.
Oh, Jesus.
Alright. Truth versus lore. Now, here's where our truth and lore segment begins. Truth. Aileen had an extremely difficult childhood marked by abandonment and instability. Here's some lore about that. Some people argue that her childhood alone explains why she became a serial killer, but that's a huge leap. Many people endure horrific childhoods and never commit violent crimes. Trauma can help explain behavior, but does not excuse murder. Understanding someone's past isn't the same as justifying their actions. Building towards the case, by the late 1980s, Aileen was living in Florida. She supported herself primarily through prostitution and spent time hitchhiking, staying in motels, campgrounds, and wooded areas. She also entered a long-time relationship with a woman named Tyria Moore. For a time, the two lived together, but money was always tight. According to investigators, it was during this period that a series of killings began, crimes that would shock the country, and led to one of the most famous criminal investigations in American history. All right. Now we're going to move on to Chapter 2, the first killing, Richard Mallory. Alright. We talked about Eileen's childhood and the difficult circumstances that shaped her early life. Now we arrive at the event that changed everything, the death of Richard Mallory. This is the most debated part of the entire case. Not because of disagreement that Richard Mallory died, there isn't. The debate is why he died. Was this a case of self-defense, or was it the first murder in a series that would leave 7 men dead? Mom, what are your thoughts about this?
For one, I don't think her childhood necessarily made her become a serial killer. I think it's from her being a prostitute and how those men treated her. And she just was sick of men thinking that they could do whatever they pleased with her.
Okay, that's very fair. I agree with that. I just have some notes. I do agree.
You're fine.
All right. So here are some facts. In late night, God, I'm like having a stroke. In late November 1989, Richard Mallory, a 51-year-old electronics repairman, disappeared in Florida. A short time later, hunters discovered his body in a wooded area. Investigators determined he had been shot multiple times. His wallet and vehicle were missing, and at first, police had no obvious suspect. It looked like another unsolved homicide. Years later, after she was arrested, Aileen admitted she had shot Richard Mallory, but she said something important. She claimed Mallory had picked her up while she was working as a prostitute. According to Aileen, he drove her to a remote area, violently assaulted her, and threatened to kill her. She said she believed she was about to die. She claimed she shot him to save her own life. That's Eileen's account. There were no eyewitnesses to confirm exactly what happened between the two of them. What do you think happened, Mom?
I think that what she said is what happened. That's what happened in the movie.
Okay. One investigators believed. Prosecutors argued something very different. They said the evidence pointed to robbery and murder, not self-defense. After Mallory's death, Aileen and her girlfriend Tyra were found using his car and belongings. Investigators argued this showed financial motive rather than a desperate act of survival. That became a major part of the prosecution's case.
Well, that's how she messed up. She should have called the police afterwards, because then she would have had evidence of what he had did to her. Because if you watch the movie, it shows him raping her with his gun.
Good God. It's been a long time since I've seen that movie. It has been a very, very long time. So I have some questions for the chat. You're fine, Ma. I have a question for the chat. I want to hear from all of you. Imagine you're on a jury, and at this point of the story, and only knowing what we've discussed so far, would you still be undecided, and would you lean towards self-defense? That's what I'm curious about. Would you guys be undecided, and would you lean towards self-defense, or would you already suspect a murder? Let me know what you guys are thinking. Very, very curious. So a key detail that often comes up. There's another part of the story that gets discussed a lot. After Mallory's death, information surfaced that he had prior convictions involving violent sexual offenses. Because of that history, some people argue it makes Eileen's claim of sexual assault more believable. But it's important to be precise here. A person's criminal history does not prove what happened in a specific encounter. The jury in Eileen's trial did not find that evidence supported a legal claim of self-defense. So while Mallory's past is part of the public discussion, it does not settle what happened that night. So now...
Well, and remember, she was on trial for more than just his murder, so...
Right.
There was a whole bunch more, so I would probably have to go with she was a murderer.
True. Oh, God. Look, okay, so my mom has got these drinks. They're Warheads drinks, and they come in like sour grape lemonade. How's that one?
It's not bad, though. Was it cherry? I think it was cherry.
I think you said it cherry.
Oh, that one was good, but I got a peach one, a strawberry one, and a blue raz one in the fridge.
Well, blue raspberry one's probably really good.
I haven't tried that yet.
It'd be good in your slushy machine, Mom.
I know I thought about that already, but I'd need like 3 of them.
Yeah, true. So the big question, if, and this is only hypothetical, the first shooting had been self-defense, what happened after that? Over the following months, 6 more men would be killed. That pattern became one of the strongest arguments against the idea that every shooting was an act of self-defense. Even people who have questioned the circumstances surrounding Richard Mallory's death often disagree about the later killings. Mom's phone has just fallen.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're fine. So now we're going to another truth versus lore segment. Let's separate the two. Truth, Richard Mallory was shot and killed. Aileen admitted to shooting him. She claimed she acted in self-defense after being sexually assaulted. Prosecutors argued it was a robbery and murder. A jury rejected her self-defense claim and convicted her. Lore debate. Was Mallory actually attacking her when she fired? Would the outcome have been different if there had been independent evidence supporting her version? Did this first killing influence everything that followed? What do you think, Mom?
I think after she killed the first one, she thought, damn, that was pretty easy. And she got away with it for a long time, so.
True. I feel like back in the day, like in like the 80s and like all like before that too, I guess even sometimes in the 90s, I feel like murderers were a lot like they wouldn't get caught, I guess, right? Like it was a lot easier to murder somebody.
There wasn't all that DNA stuff that there is now.
Exactly, because if you think about like Ted Bundy was back in the day, John Wayne Gacy, Jeffrey Dahmer,
And how many people they got away with killing, yeah. Until DNA or someone survived and got away.
And there's still like Ted Bundy murder victims. Like they're finding out Ted Bundy literally killed these people, and it's crazy. Like all these years later, due to DNA, it's
yeah, it's crazy.
So looking ahead, after Richard Mallory's death, investigators still had no idea what they were dealing with, and what would become one of the country's most infamous serial murder cases. Over the next year, more bodies would be discovered. At first, police didn't realize the cases were connected, but eventually patterns began to emerge, same region, similar victims, and growing public fear. In Chapter 3, we'll follow the investigation as detectives begin to connect the dots, and we'll look at how one of Florida's biggest homicide investigations unfolded. Your cat really wants to be in the show, Mom.
It's Patches, man. Every time she's the only one that comes up here.
Patches, what the hell? What the hell, Patches?
Here all day until this happens.
That's funny. That is so funny to me. Who the hell just called me? I thought it was the apartment complex. I was like, what the hell? Not again. You ain't gonna be busting.
Are you home?
No, I'm not. Alright, a pattern emerges. Between late 1989 and late 1990, 6 more men were killed in Florida. The victims had different jobs and backgrounds, but investigators began noticing similarities. Many were found in remote wooded areas or off of highways. Most had been shot, some of their vehicles were missing after the killings, and at first, these deaths were investigated separately by different law enforcement agencies. But as more evidence came in, detectives began comparing notes. Eventually, they believed the cases were connected. Victims. I want to pause here and remember that behind every headline was a real person. The victims were Richard Mallory, David Spears, Charles Carskaddon, Peter Sims, Troy Burris, Charles Humphreys, and Walter Antonio. Each had family members, friends, co-workers, and loved ones. Whatever your opinion of Aileen is, it's important to not lose sight of the lives that were taken. The investigation. Investigators faced a difficult challenge. There were no security cameras in every corner like we have today, no smartphones tracking people's movements, no social media timelines. Detectives had to rely on witness interviews, physical evidence, fingerprints, and old-fashioned police work. Each crime scene became another piece of a much larger puzzle. So that kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier about, you know, there
DNA,
all that stuff, yeah, because nowadays, if you kill somebody, you're getting caught, bro.
Oh, you're dumb, because you're going to get busted.
Like, you're automatically getting arrested.
Pretty, almost a 99% chance, yeah.
Yeah, so you're getting caught. They're gonna find out. The missing cars. One detail stood out. Several victims' vehicles disappeared after these killings. Police began tracking where those cars ended up. Some were abandoned, others had been driven across different parts of Florida. This gave investigators something they could follow. Vehicles can leave fingerprints. Vehicles can be recognized by witnesses. Vehicles create a trail. Now, I want to ask you guys something. Imagine you're an investigator in 1990. No GPS, no cell phone records, limited surveillance. Am I having a stroke? Cameras.
Go down.
What would you focus on first? The cars, ballistics, witnesses, or something else? Let me know in the comments, guys. What would you focus on, Mom?
I would start with the vehicles because if they found the vehicle, then you could look for the fingerprints because they did that back then.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they could connect, they would find fingerprints in all those cars. But she was pretty good from what the movie said that she would clean those cars really good. So she would try to leave no evidence,
Yeah.
fingerprint wise.
I don't see, and I don't even know. And back in the day, did they have like? I know they had license plates, but did they have anything where you could like look up a license plate that quick? You know what I mean?
The police did, yeah.
Okay, well there you go. How to do the cars too. Were the cases connected? Today, it might seem obvious that these killings were connected, but at the time, that wasn't immediately clear. Different police departments were working different cases. It took cooperation between agencies before the similarities became impossible to ignore. Once detectives believed they had a serial offender, the investigation changed dramatically. Public fear. News of the murders spread. People who regularly traveled Florida highways started paying closer attention. Truck drivers, salesmen, travelers. Many wondered whether someone was targeting men on isolated roads. The media began covering the investigation more heavily as law enforcement searched for answers. Now we're going on to our truth versus lore segment. Now let's separate what's documented from what's often exaggerated. Truth. 7 men were ultimately linked to the case. Investigators connected the homicides through evidence gathered over time. Missing vehicles became an important part of the investigation, and multiple law enforcement agencies worked together as the case developed. Now here is some lore. Some people described Aileen as someone who specifically hunted men on highways, but the evidence shows the victims were found in locations connected to Florida roadways. Investigators have not established that she selected victims according to a rigid or elaborate plan. It's more accurate to say the victims were men she encountered during that period, often while she was hitchhiking or engaged in sex work. A break in the case. So how did police finally start closing in on a suspect? Ironically, it wasn't a dramatic confession. It wasn't someone witnessing a murder. One of the biggest breaks came from the victim's stolen property. As investigators traced vehicles and fingerprints, they began narrowing their search little by little. The evidence started pointing towards one woman, Aileen Wuornos. But detectives still needed enough proof to make an arrest, and they weren't there yet. Bum, bum, bum. Are you guys enjoying this true crime stuff? Let me know in the comments down below, because we do have 11 viewers compared to our normal 40-ish viewers we have over here. Also, it doesn't help I'm not live on TikTok. I wanted to see if we could do it solo here. But if you guys are enjoying this true crime thing, put a W in the chat. It'd be very much appreciated. Let me also click on here so my mom isn't blurry anymore. Alright, pull the chat up. Alright. So now we're moving on to chapter 4, the hunt for Aileen Wuornos. We have one more chapter after this. Bum, bum, bum. The car tells a story. One of the biggest mistakes the killer made was keeping and using some of the victims' vehicles. After several of the murders, let me redo this one. After several of the murders, investigators learned that the victims' cars had disappeared. Some were abandoned miles away, others were seen by witnesses. Every recovered vehicle became another opportunity for detectives to collect fingerprints, fibers, and other evidence. Instead of looking at 7 separate mysteries, investigators started building one larger timeline. Fingerprints. As detectives processed evidence from the vehicles, fingerprints became incredibly important. Investigators compared the prints they recovered against law enforcement databases. Eventually, those fingerprints led them to a familiar name, Aileen Carol Wuornos. The moment changed everything. Police finally had a suspect. Bum, bum, bum! The wanted posters. Once investigators believed Aileen was responsible, they began distributing wanted posters and alerts throughout Florida. Police knew she wasn't acting completely alone in her daily life. Witnesses had reportedly mentioned another woman who was often seen traveling with her. That woman was Tyra Moore. At first, investigators didn't know exactly what role, if any, she had played. Was she involved? Did she know what had happened? Or was she completely unaware? Mom, I want to ask you a question. Put yourself in that situation. Imagine you discover that someone you love may have committed multiple murders. What would you do? Would you go to the police? Would you demand answers? Or would you struggle to believe it all?
I first would demand answers, and then I would go to the police. I would want to know her side, why, or their side, why.
The why they... Yeah, that's
I would
fair.
want to hear why.
I agree. Chad, let me know what you think, because I think I would also, I think I would also probably ask some questions. I think I'd go to the police anyways, no matter what, even if it was something.
I would anyways, yeah, no matter what they said.
Exactly, only because that's something
But
that
I would have to want to know why. I would want to know why.
my headset just turned off. What the hell? What the hell? I can't hear you, Mom, but they can hear you. My headset just turned off. I'll be damned. I don't know. Let me turn it back on really quick. What I missed, sorry, I had to use the restroom. We are now going on to the police looking for Aileen. So we've discovered her first murder and all that. I can hear you again. I don't know what the hell happened, Mom. My headset just decided to take a shit. What? Are you talking or are you fucking with me? Don't do that shit.
Fucking with you.
Don't do that. What the hell? I was like, what the hell? Like, Jesus Christ.
Why do you keep pulling me in like that?
Pulling you in? What do you mean?
On my screen, I'm going like that.
What? What are you talking about?
Never mind, go on.
I don't think I'm pulling you in, am I? I don't know. Oh, you know what it is, Mom? You're on your phone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, your phone does that. It's just a Discord phone thing. It'll do that. It cause the camera will follow you. It's weird. All right. Well, it does for me. Tyra Moore. Tyra Moore had been Eileen's partner for several years. The two met in Florida and became very close. Friends described them as spending much of their time together. As the investigation intensified, detectives realized Tyra might be the key to finding Aileen. Police eventually located Moore and began speaking with her. According to investigators, she agreed to cooperate. The phone calls. This led to one of the most important moments in the entire investigation. Working with law enforcement, Tyra made a series of recorded phone calls to Aileen. Investigators hoped Aileen would trust Tyra enough to talk freely. During those conversations, Moore encouraged Aileen to return to Florida and speak with authorities. The calls became an important part of the investigation because they helped build the case and ultimately led to Eileen's arrest. Now we're moving on to our Truth versus Lore segment. Now let's separate fact from the internet legend. Truth. Tyra Moore cooperated with investigators. She participated in recorded phone calls with Aileen. Those calls helped police locate and arrest Aileen. Lore. You'll often hear people say Tyra set Aileen up. That's a matter of interpretation. What is documented is that she cooperated with law enforcement after being questioned. People disagree about whether that was a betrayal, an act of self-preservation, or both. I have a question for you, Mom. Do you think Aileen was set up?
Yeah, I think that by her recording, asking her questions and stuff for the police, yeah, that was like a setup.
I agree.
Because she trusted her, that she loved her, so.
Yeah, I want to take a moment and pause really quick. Apparently somebody in the chat, so I think her name is Jenna. She has just typed in the comment. She has a 9mm pineal cyst on her brain. I'm so sorry to hear that. I will be praying for you. That is terrible. We're sending all of your prayers. That is absolutely terrible. I'm so very sorry.
That's sad.
Everybody pray for Jenna in the chat, please. It'd be very much appreciated. She needs all the prayer she can get. Alright, let's move on to the arrest. On January 9th, 1991, law enforcement arrested Aileen at a biker bar in Volusia County, Florida. I think that's what it is. By then, investigators believed they had enough evidence to move forward. The woman who had become one of the most wanted fugitives in Florida was finally in custody, but the investigation wasn't over. In many ways, it was just beginning. Police now had their suspect, but they still needed answers. Would Aileen deny everything? Would she remain silent? Or would she confess? Those questions would soon be answered in interviews that stunned investigators and later became some of the most discussed moments in true crime history. Now let's move on to Chapter 5. This is the finale. Bum, bum, bum. Yo, what up, Yuji? How you doing? Alright, the confessions. After her arrest, Aileen spoke with investigators. Over time, she confessed to the shootings. However, her explanations changed. In some interviews, she said she acted in self-defense because she believed the men were going to assault or kill her. In later statements, she acknowledged killing the men, while also giving accounts that differed from her earlier versions. Those inconsistencies became a major issue at trial. For prosecutors, they undermined her credibility. For some supporters, they reflected someone struggling with severe trauma and mental illness. The prosecution argued that this wasn't a series of isolated acts of self-defense. Instead, they said the evidence showed a pattern. Several victims' vehicles and property were taken. The shootings occurred over many months. The state argued these were intentional murders committed during robberies. That was the case presented to the jury. The defense didn't dispute that Aileen shot the men. Instead, they focused on her life history, her experience in prostitution, and her claim that at least some of the counters became violent. They also presented evidence about her mental health and traumatic upbringing, but the juries ultimately rejected her legal claim of self-defense. The verdicts. Aileen was convicted of murder. She received multiple death sentences. Over the years, she chose to stop pursuing further appeals. In interviews from prison, she repeatedly stated that she wanted the legal process to end. Some of Aileen's prison interviews became widely known. Viewers noticed dramatic changes in her behavior and demeanor over time. She made statements that included claims about conspiracies and surveillance, and she expressed beliefs that they were not supported by evidence. Those interviews have often been discussed in relation to her mental health. Whatever conclusions people draw, it's important not to treat unsupported claims as an established fact. Now, Mom, I want you to answer honestly. After everything we've covered tonight, what do you think is the biggest factor in the case? Was it childhood trauma, personal choice, mental illness, violence she may have experienced, or a combination of several things?
Childhood trauma and being abused by men.
Yeah.
Because when she started prostitution. Look, I can't talk tonight either. Must be all that smoke in the air.
I think so.
Not the good kind either.
You're an ass.
I think that her being so young and the men taking advantage of her because she was young, they should have known better, and the childhood trauma and abuse. I think that's all part of it. And that first guy that she killed, she was like, if the movie is correct, that he deserved it in my eyes.
Yeah, that's fair. Alright, now we're moving on to the execution. On October 9th, 2002, Aileen was executed by lethal injection in Florida. She was 46 years old. Her final statement expressed a belief that she would return like Independence Day with Jesus, a remark that has been widely quoted. With that, one of the most talked about criminal cases in modern American history came to an end, but the public conversations did not. Now we're moving on to our Truth versus Lore segment. Before we wrap up, let's separate fact from speculation one last time. Aileen killed several men. She confessed to the shootings, she claimed self-defense in connection with some of the killings, multiple juries convicted her, and she was sentenced to death and executed in 2002. Questions that remain debated. Did Richard Mallory attack Aileen before he was killed? How much did trauma shape her later actions? And what role did mental illness play in her decisions and later statements? How would society balance accountability with compassion for someone who endured severe hardship? Reasonable people can disagree about these questions, but they should be discussed using evidence rather than assumptions. The legacy. Aileen has been the subject of books, documentaries, films, and countless true crime discussions. Some portray her primarily as a monster. Others emphasize her traumatic past. Neither perspective tells the entire story on its own. She was a person who experienced profound hardship, and she was also responsible for taking 7 lives. Holding both of those truths at the same time is difficult, but that's often what serious discussions of true crime require. I think one of the biggest lessons from this case is that life isn't always divided into heroes and villains. People can suffer unimaginable trauma. People can also cause unimaginable harm. Understanding someone's past is not the same as excusing what they did. Remembering the victims does not require ignoring circumstances that shape the offender. Cases like this challenge us to ask difficult questions about justice, violence, mental health, and prevention. If studying this story encourages us to better recognize trauma, support vulnerable people, and prevent future violence, then perhaps some good can come from understanding it. And that is the end of our true crime segment. You have any thoughts, Mom?
If you haven't seen the movie, you should see it. It was pretty good.
The movie is called Monsters, right? Or Monster? What one is it?
Monster.
It came out in like 2008 or something. It was a very old movie. You guys should go watch it. It is old. Let's see. When did the movie Monster come out? 2003. Came out December 24th, 2003. So
Before you were even here.
yeah, so it's a lot older than I thought it was. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to know if you'd like to see us continue doing like a true crime thing maybe once a week and then doing our regular stuff, the other days. This weekend, probably Sunday-ish, I'm probably going to go over to my mom's house and I'm going to film. No, I'm not. I'm not coming to your house. Why?
I'm not going to be home Sunday. I'm going to an air show.
Okay, I'm not going to my mom's house Sunday, so I take that back. But soon I'm going to go to my mom's house and we're going to film a YouTube video, and it's going to be very cool. So yeah, guys, we'll probably end it here. This will be a little shorter live stream because I just want to do this and see what you guys think about it. If you guys are rewatching from a later day, let me know in the comments down below if you are interested in more true crime stuff, because the live chat is, but also some people didn't get to watch. Starting Monday, we are going to be going live at 4 p.m., and that'll be our new schedule because a lot of people wanted us to go live at 4 p.m. I asked a poll, and 500 and something people said go live at 4 p.m. and 100 some people said go live at 7. So we're gonna do the 4 p.m. time. Mom,
Then we'll rerun at 7.
Do you have anything you want to say, Mom?
No, but I really like that movie.
Yeah, it is a good movie. Colby asks a question
I've watched it
here.
like 50 times.
Colby says, April and Nick, do you think there are more people she killed and we just don't know about it?
Yeah.
It's a possibility.
Possibly. I could see, yeah.
You never know.
I feel like almost every guy she slept with, probably after the first one, she found a reason to kill him.
I think you're right, Bob. I think you're right.
In the movie, some guy like stopped and he was a pastor or something like that, and she killed him, and I didn't think that was right.
No,
And in the movie, one was a police officer, I think.
Huh.
Killed him.
Yeah, that's
The one guy was just trying to help her, and she killed him. She thought he wanted sex, but he didn't want sex. He was just wanting to help her.
What up, Truth?
So yeah, I could see possibly might be more. Will we ever know?
Maybe one day. You never know.
I don't know.
You never know. They just caught that one guy that killed somebody in like I think it was like 80 something, and they caught him at like 90 years old. So
Yeah, I mean, now with the DNA and all that stuff, it's hard to get away with anything like that.
It really is.
Don't do it.
Oh my God, Bob. All right, guys, so we're going to end the show. We'll be back Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern. That's our new schedule. If you haven't already joined the Discord, link is in the description. And we will see you guys then. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Thank you guys so much for all the support. We were super close to getting monetized, so if you guys could do me a favor, if you have not already, or even if you already have, just rewatch some of our old live streams. It helps us out tremendously with watch hour times. I think what I'm going to do here soon is take all of our live streams and just put them all together, and then have you guys maybe watch that. It'll be like 4 hours, but it would help us out tremendously. And we will be back Monday. We'll have a different show plan, and we'll do true crime maybe once a week. If you guys enjoyed it, please leave a like on the live stream, and we will see you guys then. Goodbye, everybody.
It just says bye.